Mark Kilgore here. Welcome back to another episode. As you can tell behind me, I am in the middle of prepping the M4 for SCCA Time Trial Nationals. That is about 3 weeks away, and it is taking place at NCM Motorsports Park. Today's video is on a brand new steering wheel system from JQ Werks. It was just released about a couple weeks ago, so I want to make a video on it, do an install and a quick review. So first, let's check out what we have in the box, and then we'll get the install going. So this is pretty much everything that comes in the JQ Werks kit. I've gone ahead and pulled everything out of the box, and you can see over here we've got documentation and some stickers. So they've got extra stickers that can be used on the wheel. They have both black and white. As you can see on the wheel, it comes with the black stickers already attached. So you have hardware including an Allen wrench for the bolts that come with the kit. One set of the bolts is for the steering wheel to the main control hub, and the other set is for the hub adapter. We have a set of the carbon fiber paddles, which you know we're gonna have to put these on. You can see they've still got the plus sign and the minus sign actually cut into the carbon fiber paddles. And you can also see here that they have the mounting, the holes for mounting them, which are slotted. So you do have some adjustability on positioning them. It's not much, maybe about 1/4 of an inch, but that is helpful in fine tuning their position relative to the steering wheel. So you can kind of move these in and out relative to the control hub and the steering wheel. One nice feature with this system is that JQ Werks send this locking wrench that allows you to keep some leverage on the hub while you torque down the 16 millimeter bolt to the steering column. Now the main jewel of this system is really this main control hub. It is made of aluminum, and man, gosh, this thing really is beautiful. It feels solid, but it's really not heavy. You have the paddles on the side. Obviously they come, as we mentioned, in the standard aluminum, but we'll be sure to trade those out for the carbon paddles. On the front side here, you have all of the buttons. You retain all of the functionality of the OE steering wheel, which of course is one of the very main reasons that I wanted to try this steering wheel system out. You also have the M1 and the M1 and M2 buttons up here, and then the free to use buttons. So really this is just a super nice system. The buttons are LED backlit, so that obviously will look great. And one of the other nice things that I really like is that the center piece here is actually the horn button. So you can actually press it down and it will sound your horn. On the back side, you have the quick release and the pin connectors. Got all of the pins inside as well. So you can see here for the pedals on the back side, you've got the 2 screws, so you just undo those, and then we could swap out the carbon paddles there. And again, you have that little bit of adjustability. You can kind of move these in and out just a little bit. It's not much, but again, it's just a nice feature to have. So we also have the hub adapter, which is pretty standard, although it's a keyed hub adapter, so it will line up with the steering column. And then you've also got the quick release pin connector. So you've got the indentations here, which connect to the quick release on the back. Then obviously you've got the pins, the pin connectors as well. You've got 2 wiring harnesses. Will slide right into the factory wiring harness receivers. So that is pretty much all you have to do to get this installed. So this is pretty much everything that I've just gone over is pretty much what comes in the box from JQ Werks. You also have 2 other items that will come separately if you're in the US, because this is the airbag warning delete plug. And so this is vital because if you don't plug this in, you will have an airbag warning light, which I don't want on the dash. I try and limit excessive warning lights that I don't have to have on there, especially when I'm out on track. So we'll go over how to install this. Should be very easy. And then this also comes with another adapter, a harness adapter, which this is what you're going to need if you want to use the free to use buttons. These 2 buttons up here aren't assigned to anything specifically, and you can add those in at a later time or while you're doing the install. I'm not going to wire those on this installation. This is going to be just a more basic installation of getting the hub in and putting in the airbag warning delete plug and having it set up. And then later I'm going to do, the next video I do will actually be a video of how I am going to connect my GoPro to this steering wheel system with one of the free to use plugs. So that should be really cool, and that I will be able to turn on and off my GoPro and have it start recording immediately simply by pressing one of these free to use buttons. So overall, the quality, the feel, the fit, finish, everything is really very high. It's a very high level. I previously had a K&P steering wheel and my old 135i, and to date, really, K&P pretty much sets the bar for a full steering wheel system like this. So far, based on everything I've seen and pulling this out of the box and kind of checking everything out, the JQ Werks system is meeting that bar. One final piece is the actual steering wheel. So this is a Renown steering wheel. You can order a Momo Mod 78 wheel as part of the JQ Werks kit, and it comes in either a 320 millimeter diameter or a 350 millimeter diameter. I looked around at those options and ended up kind of deciding to go with this Renown Club Sport wheel. It's a 330 millimeter wheel. Sort of has this dark gray suede, and it's got the tricolor M stitching, which I really thought was a nice touch, and it kind of matches the stock OEM steering wheel with the tricolor stitching. So the other thing is that this wheel is a flat wheel, so there's no dish to it. My understanding is that the Momo wheel, I think, has like a 20 or 30 millimeter dish. As I said, this is just going to be a basic install of the wheel hub, the wheel, and then the airbag resistor. I'm not going to do any of the wiring for the free to use buttons in this video, but I imagine that this probably will take us maybe about an hour to get this whole thing installed. So here we go, let's get started. All right, so first thing we got to do is, as is always the case with when you're working with electrical components in the car, undo the battery. One thing I like to do, so that's just a 10 millimeter socket, and then one thing I like to do is just use a like a microfiber towel or something like that to put onto the plug, so that you don't have any chance of any issues or getting the, turning the power back on. The first thing that we need to do to get the old steering wheel out is we need to get this center piece, the center airbag piece off. There is a little hole right here on each side, and there's a little spring-loaded mechanism in there that you just simply push in with a screwdriver on each side. You can do just one side at a time, and it'll pop the airbag off. So again, just simply insert a screwdriver, and you'll feel, once you get it kind of lined up correctly, you'll feel a little spring-loaded mechanism in there. There we go. Same thing on the other side. Get off that side. Let's try this side again. There we go. All right, so the airbag is connected here with this harness. And so there's just a little press down button, hit that, and it'll come right out. And then we can take the whole airbag piece off and set it aside. So for this second harness up here, there's really not any buttons. You just really kind of have to yank on it. Just pull it out, just grab the wires, pull it out, and it'll come out. So you can kind of see up here, there's just a little tab. So what we need to do is take this 16 mil bolt out. There we go. So you're gonna need this, so just set it aside. And then this should just come, there we go, just straight off like that. There is one plug back here in the back that just comes right out. It's for the steering wheel heater. So if you have a steering wheel heater, you'll have a plug back here, went in right here. So again, just one of those, doesn't really have anywhere to press on it that I could see. So you just kind of pull it out, and it did pop out, so no issue there. So again, we will set this aside. And at this point, in order to put on the airbag warning delete plug, we need to take off these two covers. And that'll gain us access to the back side where the plug is on the steering column. All right, so the best way to get this top cover off, so you're gonna start with the top cover first. And right here, there is a little tab kind of here on this back side. And so if you just pull out and lift up on that section, you can get the whole top piece to pop up. Just like that. And then if you just simply do the same thing on the other side, you can get that piece open. There we go. This front piece doesn't quite want to release. There we go. So now you don't have to take it all the way off. You can just kind of leave it attached. There's this little leatherette piece in the back, so you can just kind of leave that attached. So to get this lower section off, there are two tabs, one on each side. And so you can kind of see there's a little tab that sticks up here, and then there's a larger tab on the inside. If you pull that tab out away from the steering column, and then press this cover down, it will pop off like that. You may have to release the steering wheel lever to get that section down. And you do the same thing on the other side. There we go. And now this lower piece is off. There's a couple wires, a couple connectors here that are connected. You don't need to disconnect those. Just be careful, you don't want to pull them out, but it's fine. Just kind of hold here for just a second. So we're now here on the other side of the steering column, and this right here is the harness that we want and we need to take out. And so there's just a little tab on the bottom. Just simply press that up and it will slide right out. And so this is the airbag harness that we need to use the airbag delete plug. We just need to plug that in, and then we will not get a airbag warning light. All right, so here is the plug that we need. And so there is a particular orientation that you need to match these up. As long as you get this tab on the harness with this little indentation on the plug lined up, and you can just put the the plug on there just like that. There we go. And basically at that point, that's it. You don't need to do anything else with this. Just kind of tuck it up in here. It doesn't need to be plugged back in. Make sure it's sort of out of the way. And then we can put all of this back together. You can see that we have these tabs here. This tab goes right up on top of this tab up here on the steering column. So you just need to get those lined up on both sides. And it will pop into place. And then same thing on the top, just get it lined up. And it will snap down just like that. There we go. So now we will actually start to put the JQ Werks hub and the quick release pin connector onto the steering column. On the actual steering column at the very bottom, there's actually a very small little indentation, a little line that is cut, and it should be pointing down. It should be down here at the very bottom. That will then correspond to the splines, actually to the part of the hub where there are no splines. The other thing is there is this little tab here, and that tab also lines up with this portion here on the steering wheel. So again, everything will line up as it should. The other thing you're going to need is you're going to need to put the quick release and the hub on together. So you'll take these two wires and they will run through this larger piece here in the back. And then you will need to connect those before you bolt, before you put in the 16 mil bolt. Make sure we have these in the right orientation. The larger one with the neon yellow connector will go on the left connector, and then the smaller black one will just go into the right side connector. So we'll get those put in. Helps if I have the steering column locked. So we'll put those in. All right, and then line up the hub. There we go. And again, you just want to make sure that the piece on the hub where there's no splines lines up with the indentation line in the bottom of the steering column, which it does. The next part is we could probably go ahead and thread on the steering column nut. So we can do that. And then you've got the locking wrench. And in the instructions, they have it kind of out here, far left-hand side. I'm actually gonna put it kind of down here at the bottom. That'll give me a little bit more leverage when I go to torque this down. When I go to torque the steering column nut down. Got your Allen wrench that came with the kit. So just tighten them just a little bit. They don't need to be overly tightened. There we go. I've got my torque wrench set to 50 foot-pounds, which is what it says in the instructions. Here we go. It was actually that was a bit tighter than I thought it was going to be. All right, all good there. So now I'll take the locking wrench off. There we go. We will need those bolts. So now at this point we can bolt the quick release to the hub. So in case you were wondering, the bolts that connect the quick release to the hub is a T25 star bit. So that may make it a little bit easier to get these in than the Allen key, as well as to bolt them down, tighten them down. All right, at this point, we are ready. Everything is set up, everything is secure. And at this point, we are ready to put on the main hub. There we go. So at this point, everything is pretty much done, other than just to put on the steering wheel. So there are two sets of bolts that come with the kit. The longer bolts that have the flat head are the ones that go into the main control hub with the steering wheel. So just simply thread all these on. This is also a T25 star bit. So we'll get them started and then tighten them down with the socket. All right, that is it. Whew, man, it feels so good. It feels so good. The positioning is really nice. There's still plenty of room, even with this particular steering wheel that has no depth or no dish. There's still plenty of room to be able to get my hands behind the steering wheel and in between the steering wheel and the paddles, get around, hit the paddles. So everything really, all the buttons, very easy to get to. Super nice, super nice. And that was a really easy install. So the last step is to reattach the battery cable. And then we should be good to go. We'll check everything on the steering wheel, but that should be it. All right, so everything should be good to go. Let's turn the car on. Oh yeah. All the lights have come on. Most notably, let me show you this. We've got no airbag warning light, which is fantastic. You can see here, we've got all the lights, we've got all the LEDs working. Backlight, the backlighting looks awesome. So these will stay on based on whenever you have your lights on or off. So if you have your car on the automatic setting, they will probably stay on for the most part during the day because you have your daytime running lights. But if you ever wanted to turn them off, you can just simply switch the knob to off and they will all go off. So that's really awesome. And then they also are controlled, the intensity of the lights are controlled by your dimmer as well. So as you turn that up and down, you can control the intensity of the steering wheel, which is again, just awesome. JQ Werks really did a great job on this steering wheel system. One thing I will point out, this right here is about eye level for me. And I have the steering wheel in the position that I would want it. And you can probably tell that just up here, for a 330 millimeter diameter wheel, it will cut off just a little bit of the top portion of the instrument cluster. And that is something that I also had in my old 135i. So again, I had the K&P wheel, but it was also a 330 millimeter diameter wheel. And it too also kind of cut the top of the instrument cluster off. So when I'm driving, it would really look about like this. So that is just something to keep in mind. Again, it's preference for me. Being on the track, not a huge deal because I usually have the heads-up display going in front of me anyway, and I don't really look at the instrument cluster all that much in terms of speed and RPM. The good thing is that you can still see everything on the bottom. So if you have any warning lights pop up, you'll easily be able to see those. But just keep that in mind for a 320 or 330 millimeter wheel. It will probably be a little bit small and will cut off a little bit of the instrument cluster. You may want to go to like a 350 or maybe even a 370. It would probably be something I would choose if I was daily driving the car. One other thing to note is, as I also said, this particular wheel has zero dish or zero depth. It's a flat wheel. And again, there's plenty of room between my fingertips on the back of the steering wheel and the paddles, very easy to get to. However, I did have a steering wheel that had a 50 millimeter dish. And I just wanted to see what that would feel like. So before I put this one on, I just kind of test fit that one. And I'll say that the 50 millimeter depth was getting to the point where I could really only get just the tips of my fingers onto the paddles. I would say a 50 millimeter depth or a 50mm dish would probably be about as far as you would want to go in terms of a steering wheel. So you can see, so we'll check the buttons real quick. So M1, you can see comes up, confirm. There we go. M2, confirm. Yep. So let's check out the volume. Volume works. There we go. Push to talk. Oh. Obviously that works. We can see mode. The mode is switching between FM, Bluetooth, etc. So everything works. Just awesome. Super happy with this. This is just, I mean, it's just sick. And I love this Renown steering wheel. Really like the M stitching. Absolutely beautiful. So that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful. Good luck on your installation. If you are in the market or you're thinking about the JQ Werks steering wheel system, highly recommend it. It's very high quality. The central hub, all of the electronics in it is, really well put together. So highly recommend it. Be sure and check out my next video where I'm going to show how to wire up the free to use buttons. And in particular, I'm going to wire up my GoPro camera, which should be pretty awesome. I'm excited about that. Thanks for checking this video out. See you in the next one. Bye now.